tortures, when it's cemented only with blood and not with the heartbeat devotion of our Irish people. And he reminded us the people's rights are paramount and the people's will must be obeyed. Justice delayed is justice denied. I wonder what Patrick Pearse and Daniel O'Connell would think of our traitors we all marching inside of them. So the fight continues today, and so we're here, 109 years on from the Easter Rising. But today we do not fight the British. We fight a failed Irish cobbled together government. A government cobbled together without vision, without honour. A government that no longer listens. A government that turns its back on its people, north and south, Catholic and Protestant. But now, those people are all united here today. United for the share. We have enough of bypass centres tearing our families apart. Enough of unspeakable horrors inflicted on our children. Enough of a failed system that turns its face away while our people suffer. The people of Coolock said no. Now the people of City West rise to say it is Coolock's day. Tomorrow it could be hot, it could be cold rain, it could be anywhere. This is not just a protest. This is a movement. A stand by ordinary people who refuse to be silent. We will not be ignored. How do we speak of justice in this country when corruption poisons the roots of our nation? Thousands of unvetted men brought into our country. No background checks, no safeguards. Some even recruited into unguarded Shikona. The very force sworn to protect us. How do we feel safe when those who should have fought the law turn a blind eye? Judges like Martin Nolan, who let pedophiles and rapists walk free. Judges like Sinead Dean in Cork, who not only leave Irish women and children homeless, but also operate within a shadow banking system, helping wealthy husbands buy assets and pensions from their ex-wives and their children. A secret network where money vanishes, where women and children are robbed, not by chance, but by design. Judge James O'Donoghue, who was convicted for failing to provide a sample of breath at the request of a party, JP, a mother of two children, unlawfully in Limerick prison a week before Christmas for 4 days. Last week, Justice Emily Egan, who I believe has now colluded with the Irish government to destroy vital evidence in election rigging. Misconduct that should be shamed, but here it brings promotion. Where is the justice? If this was any other country in the world, these judges would be impeached. We live in a time of deep sorrow, of proud betrayal. Thousands of people have died. Excess deaths brushed aside. COVID vaccines and many other vaccine scandals hidden up. Questions left unanswered. Families shattered. Grieving without the truth, without closure. And while our people suffer, 16,000 Irish homeless wander our streets every day. We are pushed to the margins, to the pin of our colour. When homes are handed out to illegal migrants by our county councils and government, healthcare slips away, basic rights vanish before our eyes. We are at breaking point, folks. The rate of abortion spirals, lives lost ever before they begin, and the fires of all conflicts flicker dangerously close. We remember Ballymena, we remember the riots. The young girl who was brutally raped and whose life was torn apart. But even then, in that darkness, the 32 counties stood together! Not as factions, not as parties, but as Irish people, united by the love for this island. These politicians were all selected, not elected. Some days are just days, but this day, a day that history will remember, because we refused to sit on the silence.
The next speaker is English from Water, which says no. Alright lads, well, what a beautiful sight looking at these beautiful people. I tell you, they talk about white Irish privilege. If there is it, that's it here. That's a fact. Look, I'm not going to take too much of your time here lads. I'm up here with a simple message, and that message is action. So, we come here to these protests, we have thousands of people. We walk away from these protests and we say, what happens next? That's not up to the people up here speaking, that's up to every one of us standing out there. When we get home, we don't put our feet up on the chair, we don't sit back and relax. We get to work. You identify your civil servants, you identify your money men, not just your politicians. You identify your next door neighbour, you identify the NGOs, you identify all of those traders, and you shun them in your communities. You call up outside their doors, outside their offices, and they go, move! Because the simple fact here is that the power of the people in here is the will of the Irish, and we know for a fact the will of the Irish will never be broken. It has never been broken before, and it will never be broken in the future. So my message here is get ready for the future, because the fight has not started, it's already begun, and we're in the middle of it. So mount up, get involved in communities, and start getting out there and bringing the fight to them. Don't sit on your backside waiting for others. Get up and be your own leader. I have two more things to say. We need to look back in time here, not just into the future. And we need to look back at the mass genocide that was attempted on our people through death jabs. There's plenty of people that are willing to speak about it, and we need to hear those people. What we also need, we need action from the people behind that. So we need to go and we need to follow the likes of Patrick McGreal, the likes of Barry from Wake Up Air, and anybody that's bringing a challenge on this. Because we don't forget, we do not forget, and we will always go back and these people will be pulled out. And as for the future, we are the holders of our own destiny, lads. So as bad as they are destroying our country, it is up to each and every one of us to stand up and make that barrier in front of them and tell them, he ain't doing it. Because I'll die here before I leave he walk over me, and that's a fact. Last two things, they're not about protesting. It's about two men. One of them celebrates his birthday today, one celebrates next week. So I want you all to give him all a round of applause. I wish him a happy birthday. That's Clive Dempsey and Fergus Power. And I'll leave you with this, lads. This country has never been broken. People might have laid down and left themselves to be walked all over. But if you look back even pre-1916, we've Irish men and women that stood up strong and never faltered. And we're now following that lineage. So it's up to us to make that fight even stronger and win. Aaron the brand, took you all off. I nearly forgot, lads, I nearly forgot. So, the 26th of July in Waterford, we'd like to see you all there. We're bringing it to Waterford. And let's bring it down to Wokeford, into Lefty Haven, and let's bring it to them and show them that we ain't stopping. This just ain't about Dublin, it's not about Limerick, it's not about Clonmel, not about it's about Ireland. The next speaker, I'm sure you all know her from TikTok, is Maggie Stapleton. Give her a round of applause.
Do you agree with Cardiff? And up there, the blessings of God on each and every one of you. And I just want to say a big correct meal of Mahalgut to the organisers for giving me a chance to speak the love of my country and the heritage that runs through each and every one of our veins, the blood of the true Gaels of Ireland. And this is a message to the traitors and news talk. You see them flags? Yes. They represent us. Yes. They represent freedom. And that represents the love of the island of Ireland. So put down your pipe and smoke it.
to stand here before each and every one of you, to be proud to be a true native Irish woman. Not everybody is blessed to say that. We're so indigenous to the island of Ireland. The air roots run so deep, like the rivers across Ireland. We are so indigenous that we are nearly touching at the Creator's feet. Our lineage is so strong that we can go back from the stories from our mothers and our mothers' mothers, and that's what the serpents hate. They want to take away everything that's true and indigenous to this land. They're bringing in people into this country that have no affiliation, nothing.
Get them out!
And they're leaving our people on the sides of the roads, begging for what's truly theirs. It's in the Bunrock Nahiran to house and to help the poor people of society, and our people are left begging all the time while people come into this country and they get everything handed to them. When the true girls get into the door, all of that is going to stop. We're going to clean up shop. We're going to look after their children and let them know that this country belongs to them. And the stories will continue. That their mothers told us and their mothers before them. When our brothers and sisters stood on these streets that we're standing on and fought against the British Empire.
Fuck the British Empire!
They didn't stand with a pint in their hand and a firearm. They stood with a firearm and the rosary blade for the love of God and country. Without God, there's no order. The Irish people need to get back to their faith. Because through our faith, we are going to take our island back. They've taken God out of schools. They've taken the Lord out of the hospitals, where the Lord is most needed, where the sick and vulnerable people need the Lord the most. And while they're taking God out of the country, they're bringing people in here that are worshipping a false God. The Irish people need to get back to the basics. They need to get back to God and country, community. That's why we do need to stick together. But you can see how the movement is going now. We can all see that we are being invaded and the regime are given the backing of it. But as I said, when the true Irish people get into the door, that is all going to stop. Edinburgh is born. Jesus is King.
Now, the next speaker is Patrick Quinlan, if he can make his way to the stage.
Go on, Paddy!
What is happening to this city? Absolutely love it! Electric! My friends, my family, my people. We're not just a crowd gathered here today. We are the sons and we are the daughters of Ireland. We have inherited a legacy that has been carved from the emerald earth beneath your feet and has been written in the stars of our people's dreams. Look around you. Every face, every heart carries the same unbreakable thread. Our past, our struggles, our triumphs, they bind us, not as strangers, but as a family grown large that Pierce talked about. It's run through our veins. It's a river of memory that no storm can wash away. And today, the Irish people here, we stand as one, ready to write the next chapter of our people's story.
Aaron, come on!
Think of those who came before us. They toiled under unrelenting sun and storms. They built homes with calloused hands, and they stood tall against every toil that sought to break them. 620,000 were massacred by Cromwell's blades. Millions more of our people were scattered to the four corners of the world. Our language, our culture, our very soul has been pushed to the brink time and time again. And yet, we are still here, and we are still Irish. But today, the war has changed. We face a new battle. It's not with swords and it's not with bullets, but it's with ideas. Micheál Martin and the Serpents in Dublin are following in the footsteps of their English predecessors. They're telling us that anyone can be Irish, but when everyone's Irish, no one's Irish. The very idea of a sovereign Gaelic state and the death of it is what they want. What do we want? They're ashamed to be born Irish. They're spitting on a cultural inheritance that we've inherited over the course of thousands of years.
It's not for sale.
They tell us that we have no right to be proud of our roots, our story or our blood. But I'm telling you, the only thing worse than being born Irish is not being born Irish. Look at the priorities. €415 million in 3 months so far this year. They're after thrown into iPads. It's a black hole that's misappropriating our resources that we're working hard, because it's not their money, it's ours.
Yes!
That money could have built 1,400 homes for our people. It could have been used to hire 340 doctors or 690 teachers and pay them for a decade. I ask you, what do you want? Do you want an iPad system that's hollowing out our nation? Or do you want homes, doctors and teachers for our people? The choice is yours. And out in Mountfew, bringing it back to the home patch, you Blanche! They're building a supposed family hub. We don't need hubs that are going to be filled with foreign nationals. We need homes. We need front and back gardens. We need secure spaces for our children to grow.
Exactly, Paddy.
And it's not just for people on the social housing list either, I'd like to remind them of. It's for families that are being trapped in perpetual debt, where the bankers are holding all the cards and they can tough you out if you fall on hard times. In response to the hub in Blanche, we're after launching a petition. In the space of 3 days, we're after getting over 1,000 signatures. The people are waking up and they're saying no to the government's disastrous policies. Or Ganesh, but I love a kind, A2. Where's A2 in this fight? They're nowhere. They're refusing to stand with the Irish people. In finger, they're voting us down when we're asking the hard questions on immigration. They'd rather stand with baby-killing, nation-wrecking communists than us. And if it makes them uncomfortable that we won't bow, then so be it. The National Party will be your voice. The National Party will be your fire. Your unbreakable will. Our history is not a chain, it's a torch. It's lighting our path to a future we'll build together. A future where every Irish child, every dreamer, every soul who carries our story can rise. Where our homes are ours, where our culture is cherished, where our sovereignty is sacred. We're making history here today, folks. Not as individuals, but as a people. The National Party's constantly running candidate workshops. We have new voices that are stepping forward, new representatives. Jordan delivered a savage speech in court. We're going door to door. We're constantly waking the Irish people up. I have a question for all of you in the crowd today. Which side will you stand on? What will you be remembered for? The hour's now. Rise for Ireland. Let our voices echo. Like the cliffs of Moher. Falling back there with the Union spirit. Let our unity blaze like the harp's golden strings, shattering every lie that dares to try and cage our people. Join the National Party. Not for me, not for the party, but for us, for our people, our future, our home. Together, we will forge an Ireland where our children stand free, proud and unbroken, where they will not just survive, but thrive. History's watching. Are you going to be the hero? Dublin City, are you going to be the hero? Yes, get on, please.
Next speaker is a woman who spoke in court a couple of weeks ago, and RD then a couple of days later, Kira Ní Money.
Holding every other flag by the one that they should be proud of. We are proud to be Irish. Speaking of the flags, I just want to give a shout out to Andy. I mean, he's done 15,000 flags over the last year, right? But behind every good man, there's a great mommy, right? And not many people know this. His mother irons every single flag. She's making sure there's not a crease in the movement, so will you give me a bit of us? I want to talk about the different types of people coming into our country. You have the economic migrants, the ones that are here to merge the system. Your man up in Letterkenny, his buddy, you know, the bisexual fella, he, in my opinion, is an economic migrant. But in my opinion, some of these men will be soldiers. So we need to work together and get them out before they're on our streets. Yes! No excuses, no loopholes, no sob stories. They all have to go. Anyone that's come into this country in the last 5 years has to be fucked up not to relate to them. There's things happening every day, okay? There was an attempted abduction last Monday of 2 little girls in Mullingar. Mind your kids, don't take your eye off your children. It's up to every single one of us to make sure no child is abducted, killed, raped in this country. We have this job, lads, and we have to do it.
Yes! No more!
We need to look out for vulnerable people in our communities. We've all grown up together in our little communities, watching each other's backs. But we've let the ball drop a little bit. So you're getting back into the community, right? You're helping people, you're watching what's going on. Because these lads are not here for any benefit of me or you.
Peaches.
There's been a disconnection in the country, and they did it during COVID. They locked you down, they isolated you, they broke families, they broke friendships. And when you're dumbed down and you're afraid, you're easier to control. And that's what they did then. And that's what they're trying to do now, okay? They are bringing all these men in here. They know they're creating chaos. And then they're going to hand us a solution, which will be the digital ID, the digital currency, and total control. But you're not going to fall for it this time, because we're not going to let you fall for it. The jail! You should be absolutely ashamed of yourselves. Not only are you letting the Eid Festival go on that land, not only did you look at trees of buck being escorted out of there for saying a Hail Mary, but you have all these migrants working as security up there, so if something happens in there, the buck will stop with you. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Men of Ireland, I want to have a little word with you, alright? You need to catch yourselves on, lads, okay? You need to pull up your big boy pants, because the country is at war the last 4 years or so, alright? Yeah. So I have a little bit of homework for you all. When you go home, into that wardrobe, where you put away them big boy pants about 10 years ago, because let's be honest, you haven't had them on, and you're putting them on tomorrow morning, and you're not taking them off until we get this country back. Finally, I'd like to address the establishment. Because of you, our ancestors who fought and died for our freedom have been disturbed from their resting place. You have been complicit in an invasion on our land. You have committed treason against the Irish people. You have mentally tortured us. You have used brutal force against us. But we're still here. And we're here because the passion we have for our country is more powerful than any force you will ever use against us. We're not going to stop until we get this country back and until our ancestors can rest easy again. The Irish people are united against you.
Yes! Look, it's a long day and everybody's standing around and we don't want to keep us here for too long, so if you would, Mary is going to sing Grace. I don't know if you know the words, but if you do, you might sing along.
As we gather in the chapel here in old Kilmainham jail, I think about these past few weeks. Our rainy sails from our school days. They have told us we must yearn for liberty. Now all I want in this dark place is to have you here with me. Oh, grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They'll take me out of dawn and I will die. Without my love, I'll place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love
say goodbye. Now I know it's hard for you, my love, to ever understand the love I bear for these brave men, my love for this dear land. But when Porrick called me to his side down in the GPO, I had to leave my own sick bed. To him I had to go. Oh, Grace just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They'll take me out at dawn and I will die. With all my love I'll place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, for we must say goodbye. Now as the dawn is breaking, my heart is breaking too. On this May morn, as I walk out, my thoughts will be of you. And I'll write some words upon the wall, so everyone will know I love so much that I could see his blood upon the rose. Oh, Grace just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They'll take me out at dawn and I will die. With all my love I'll place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, for we must say goodbye. No, there won't be time to share our love, for we must say goodbye.
So you did know the words. Look, we won't keep us too much longer, but we have Stephen Kerr and Suzanne Delaney who do great work. Come on, Ireland! Well done, everyone. My name is Stephen Kerr, this is Suzanne Delaney. We have an online platform called the Irish Inquiry. Some of you will have seen we put out a video last week showing us being illegally kicked out of Croke Park. Why? Because we're not Muslim. There seems to be an issue with Christian Irish people there. What you didn't see on that video, however, is that at the same time that we were getting kicked out, Mr. Umar Al-Kadri was standing on stage speaking about Ireland being the land of David and Marsha. 100,000 welcomes. You couldn't make it up. In case you didn't hear me there, what I said is, while we were getting kicked out of Croke Park, Dr. Umar Al-Kadri was standing on stage speaking about Ireland being the land of Céad Míle Fáilte. Couldn't make it up, could you? He spoke of how welcoming Ireland has been, while at the same time ejecting us from the sacred ground where Christians were massacred in the past. That video went viral. It got about 1 million views in less than 24 hours. But ever since then, social media platforms, at the behest of Commission the Man, no doubt, have clamped down on the Irish Inquiry, rendering us all but invisible and silent.
But they can't silence us from this stage, can they? So, we're here today to say to you that we stand with you, and we always stand with you. And we say to you to fly your flag, and we say to reject the dehumanising of Irish people being called mongrels, while everyone coming into this country has been referred to as being more Irish than us. We are the native Irish people. This is our ancient motherland, and we will never stop fighting for our freedom. Please, I'm going to pass over to Suzanne Delaney now.
I don't know, can everybody hear me? It might be a bit high, I'm not, that's all. A bit too loud. Thanks everybody for giving me the time to speak to you here today. I really appreciate that. I don't know if you all heard that this week, in a very dystopian move, this government decided that they automatically own everybody's organs. But I don't think they got the memo, because judging by the crowd here today, our hearts belong to Ireland. And to those who call us mongrels, I'd like to extend an expression that we used to say when I grew up in Cordoff and Blanchardstown. Come over here and say that! I just want to say I used to, walk along the Liffey with my mother when I was a child. And I used to be able to come into this city as a child by myself. And now I don't come in here not alone and not with my child. And one thing many of you will remember about the Liffey back then is that it stank. And it doesn't stink anymore, but there's something that does stink, and they're sitting up there, Dublin. Now, I won't keep you much longer, but I wrote something a couple of years ago, and some of you may have heard it before, but for those of you who haven't, I feel like it's very, very relevant for today. This is called Open Borders. Sorry. These traitors don't care for the security of our nation, for background checks or the Dublin regulations. They don't care for documents that would have revealed a place or a past now forever concealed. Nor do they care from where they came, who they are, or what's their name. Cultural differences are to be embraced, as are those who can't be traced. They don't care for statistical fact. There's criminals amongst them, to be exact. And there's those who will be keen to escape a criminal record for murder or rape. There's none in Foxrock, Killiney or D4, but they'll insist your community needs more. Child traffickers arrive too when it's all unvetted, a crime in which they're aided and abetted by those who label you racist and far right, with no real argument, it's all they recite. And Tulsa, yeah, exactly. They care not that migration is an industry for greed, and that it's never really about people in need. And even if it was about helping another, we can't help anyone if we're to smother. They don't care that in Africa there's 1.4 billion, and that we are a nation of only 5 million. They don't care that in Asia there's nearly 5 billion more, but never mind that, just open the door. Safe Europeans too we must take, accepting everyone is duty, not mistake. Most of Ukraine is not under attack, but if you utter this truth, expect nothing but flack. We must do our duty, we will be told, and so-called climate change will make that duty tenfold. They'll mock you for exclaiming you're being replaced, or for noticing Irish culture is being erased. Gaslighting and insults is all they spout. Be ashamed of your bigotry, you fascists, they shout. Race baiting justifies their existence, and this is why they have such insistence. The hate lies at the heart of their beautiful land, and free speech and protest, they too must be banned. They don't care that you worry for your child, mother, sister or wife, and they won't care if they're raped or someone robs them of their life.
Fuck them!
They will endlessly ignore Sweden, a cautionary tale, crying diversity is our strength, open borders can't fail. But they're the fascists, truth be told, silencing others as the lie is sold. But their efforts are floundering more each day, and we, the people, will not go away. Our ancestors' blood yielded this little nation, and we will never surrender to this plantation. God near Margaret and Aaron the Bell.
As Stretch would say, this is Dublin! I hope that all are listening very loudly. We've had enough of vulture funds. We want them out. Mars Capital, Pepper Finance, get out of Ireland! Right? We want Judge Nolan gone! He's the biggest scumbag in the judicial system, giving suspended sentences to paedophiles. Do you know how afraid they are in government at the moment? They're giving councillors 10 grand for security now. They're terrified of the Irish people. They're afraid of what we stand for. And that's for their people to stand up and fight back against them. We are not going to put up with it anymore. It's time to look after the Irish people. We've had enough of it. Immigration has our country destroyed. It's not about being a welcoming nation. It's about accepting the fact that Ireland is full. Now everybody in the door, we need to get them out. 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 Right. This is a message to a few people, and I hope they're listening very clearly. Mick Clifford, Bandy McInerney, Mel Sutcliffe, Dave Mooney. I hope yous are all listening, because yous will be held accountable for what you did. And so will your families. We will chase every penny that yous are making from destroying our country. And that's all gonna go back to the homeless Irish people that have been forgotten about. There's no such thing as the working class anymore. It's the working poor, and they're punching down on us left, right and centre. And when you speak up, they call your names. Are we gonna listen to them names anymore? No! I give you this, right, and I'm gonna change it to quote from Michael Collins, one of our fallen heroes. We've got something more powerful than the entire door, than the entire EU, and that's our refusal to let them take away our free speech, our refusal to let them leave families in emergency accommodation and be forgotten about, our refusal to be let Nicola Fox be in a prison when she should be over here in Ireland. Who does Ireland belong to? I didn't hear you. Belong to? And people like Fair Power, who's standing up for Ava and her damn man, people like Philip Dwyer, people like Val, loads of people that are standing up. They're not afraid anymore. There's none to be afraid anymore. Now let's go take our country back.
Next speaker coming up to the stage now is a man who was elected to the council last year, does some great work for the community. He's a two-time Olympian, Councillor Philip Sutcliffe.
What can I say that the others didn't say, right? First of all, I want to thank everybody, many mothers, fathers, children for coming in today to make this day special. Now I cannot say more than what the rest of them say. Only stick together as a country, stick together as a family, and we're all a family together. If we stay strong together, we stay strong always. God bless.
Now, second last speaker today is another man who was elected to the City Council last year, Glenn Moore. Councillor Glenn Moore, you can come up to the stage.
For those that don't know me, my name is Glenn Moore and I'm elected councillor for Dublin. I stand before you today because I'm genuinely frightened about the future of Ireland. I know many speakers here can rally, inspire and speak great things of a hopeful future. I, on the other hand, want to tell the rest of Ireland and the world that we, the Irish, have fallen into times that are truly dreadful. Throughout my life, I have fallen in love with the idea of democracies and republics, and the heroes of the West who defended them against evil ideologies. Both communism and fascism with their oppressive belief systems fell before those who believed in liberty. Individuals whose achievements brought freedom to people across the world, including our own Irish leaders, who liberated us from from a monarchy to a republic. These people no longer exist. Their shoes are filled with lesser men, infected with the sickness of greed. Money is their fixation, and they will gladly sell you and your families out to achieve more of it. This brings us to the rise of nationalism, which means a profound love for one's people and culture that exists on the left and right wings of politics. Nationalism has surged across Europe many times. It defended all of Europe from the Ottoman invasions, toppled monarchies, dismantled the Soviet Union, and for us ended British rule in Ireland. Though our numbers may be limited for now, our forefathers also shared our plight, but they persevered despite low support from their own fellow countrymen. They even faced distrust and were even spat upon. They fought on, often alone, and their unwavering resolve led to victory. Their courage inspires us to persevere for a future that honours our heritage and protects our nation. Today, however, we face grave challenges that threaten this legacy. We live in a world infected with corruption and ignorance, blind to the values that give strength to the West. The people of the West, not just the Irish, but those of the United Kingdom, France and beyond, are all in decline. It is a horrific truth. Our birth rate has fallen below replacement levels. We are burdened by massive debts we cannot pay back. And of course, mass immigration into Europe and Ireland is drastically changing our culture and landscape. Entire towns in Ireland, once wholly Irish, have been transformed overnight by the arrival of asylum seekers planted under the cover of dark and secrecy without the consent of the people. We, the taxpayers, are expected to pay for them, which seems almost indefinite, until the end of days. When citizens resist and speak out because deep down they know something is seriously wrong, they are branded as far right. A term that has lost all meaning and further deepens our sense and concerns of being ignored. Our young people, the children who are meant to replace all of you when you return to the earth, are forced to leave the Emerald Isle in search of homes and families on distant shores. If continued, this will lead to the end of the people in the future. We have lost the heart of Dublin city centre, where we now represent 40% or less of the population, and our people fear to walk its streets, which have become a cesspool of crime and sinister behaviour. Strangers walk its streets. When the British left Ireland, we were left with the English language alone, and we no longer hear that anymore. Many of you in this crowd are asking, why is this happening to our people? Why are our own politicians complicit? And the truth is, we no longer live in a true democracy. I'm not denying that the Republic exists or we don't hold free elections, but as long as Ireland remains in the European Union, our people will never truly be free. Just as our forefathers were spat upon by those that wish to remain under the British crown, we face similar resistance from those who bow to a new foreign power in Brussels. The EU is nothing more than a modern crown where unelected bureaucrats dictate to Ireland's daily affairs. Our elected officials in the Oireachtas are often threatened with fines and sanctions if they resist EU mandates, forcing our nation to bend the knee to policies that do not serve our people's interests. The European Parliament is riddled with corruption, its chambers often empty, its president absent despite repeated calls to attend, and its voting process marred by broken machines and careless hand counting that invites fraud, often swaying outcomes towards far-left agendas. I dream of a day Ireland breaks free from this oppressive institution and votes to leave, joining all those who cherish liberty and dismantling a system that tramples the rights of Irish and the European people. I wish to end my speech with a single Irish word: Dugas. There is no direct translation for this word, but it holds a profound meaning in the Irish language. It is a connection to your birthright, heritage, and a sense of belonging. This is what you are fighting to preserve, because that feeling deep down in your bones, which stirs your unease, is what is threatened. We will endure this madness, and we will be victorious. Not tomorrow, perhaps, but someday in the future. God bless Ireland. And Ireland belongs to the Irish.
Now, before the rain comes and before I introduce the last speaker, I can't say any more without first of all thanking everybody who donated to the GoFundMe that allowed us to have a setup like this today. It just shows when everybody works together you can create days like today. Also anybody that bought a hat, all of that stuff went towards funding today. Thanks so much for that. There is an awful lot. There is an awful lot that goes into organising these kind of things, and when you see a tricolours and a sea of people who care this much about our country, it's worth it, undoubtedly. So thanks to everybody for turning up. The guy who organised all of it is going to say a couple of words now before we head off for the day, so please make some noise and a round of applause for Councillor Malachy Stevenson.
Firstly, there's very little that I can say that everybody else hasn't already said, so I want to reiterate everything that they said. I want to thank everyone for coming here today, and I particularly want to thank all of the speakers, the singers, including my wife who sang Grace, all of the speakers and all of those who contributed, whether it's €5 or €10 to the GoFundMe page to set up this sound system. I also want to remember a good friend of ours, and Michelle Keane mentioned him in her opening remarks. Father Paddy Ryan, who passed away, who was buried last week. The last time I met Paddy was he was sitting on a bench there at one of our rallies last year. The first time I met Paddy was sometime in the late 80s, somewhere in Europe, when we were both engaged on our country's business. I would ask you now to have a minute's silence in memory of Paddy Ryan. And if the clergy in this country had more priests like Paddy Ryan, we would not be in the position we are in today. So just have a moment's silence for the life and times of Paddy Ryan.
is a hugely growing movement. And if you look at where we have progressed from East Wall in November 2022 to where we are today. In April, we had 50,000 people on the streets. Today, we have had more. Look at the reaction from the political class to the 26th of April. When they saw that sea of tricolours, when we took our flag back from those who seek to destroy it. In what country in the world would you have a so-called serious news journalist, or whatever he wants to call himself, Sean Defoe and News Talk, say that if you fly the tricolour, you are a racist, you are a fascist?
Traitor!
Those labels mean nothing to us. We saw the left 2 weeks ago trying to reclaim the tricolour. They've lost it. We have taken it back. But then, we never lost it. We saw a video yesterday from the Provisionals. They couldn't even do their own video. They had to copy the great Andy Craig's video. And I don't think any of their mothers were ironing the flags. But they're down there in Bowdenstown at the grave of Wolfe Tone. Wolfe Tone's main concentration was the unity of Catholic, Protestant and Dissenter in the common name of Irishmen. But in order to achieve that, you have to break the connection with England. How is it that His Majesty's First Minister in the 6th County Stately can stand and speak at the grave of Wolfe Tone? But it exposes them for what they are. Micheál Martin a number of months ago called us mongrels. Well, firstly, we're not mongrels, we're thoroughbreds. Yeah! But let Micheál Martin be very clear. The mongrels and the thoroughbreds are fighting back. Yeah! Just to go back to Defoe's comments on the tricolour. People remember when George Hughes worked for News Talk. And he said after a rape trial that young girls going out at night should be careful. He was sacked. Why is Defoe not sacked?
Yeah.
The Flags Initiative has moved on, and in the inner city, people are erecting tricolours on street poles. That is the next part of this project, along with flying tricolours from your own homes. I'm not even going to mention what passed for a counter protest up the road. Or their attempt to bring people onto the streets last week about housing. And they rabble on about housing. It's everybody's fault. It's the government's fault. It's the landlord's fault. It's the bank's fault. But they will never mention the fact of the huge increase in population is what is driving up the price of houses and the scarcity of housing. That is what is driving up rents up and down this country. We are truly living in a dystopian world. One of the other speakers mentioned that the state now has decided that it owns your organs and your body. What happened? My body, my choice. Last week, the British Parliament in Westminster voted to kill children up to the time of death or birth, and to kill our own people whenever they want. That's the type of world that is being created. People want to know where we go from here. And we have been engaged right throughout this country with talks of progressing this movement. We have taken part in the IFP's initiative to bring people closer together and to unify into some grouping. The working title that we've run this rally under and that we're pursuing this project under is Guala Heron. And I can think of no other title that reflects exactly what we have. Love of Ireland. That's all we need. We don't need a fancy title, because that's why we're here. Love of Ireland, love of family, love of our children, and love of our future. As one of the earlier speakers announced, the next major rally is in Waterford, I think on the weekend of the 26th of July. The one after that is in Galway on the weekend of the August bank holiday. I think it's the 2nd of August. Everybody should do their best to get to those two rallies. As we go through this period, some of the most crucial issues facing us are housing, health, education. None of those issues can be resolved in any way unless we close the borders to IPASS applications and also to any other work visa applications. This country simply cannot sustain any further increase in population. I would ask people here, because some people are finding it difficult to contact us. At the moment, if you just go to one of the websites we have, malachy.ie is probably the easiest one to find. Send a DM to that with your email and your details, and we will be in contact with you. I also wanted to thank, because none of this would get any publicity without our citizen journalists. Led principally by Philip Dwyer, and many others. I want to thank the international media who give us more coverage than the national media. I'm sure if this is even mentioned on RTE tonight, there'll be about 50 people here. And when the broadcast media talks about citizen journalists, and they say, oh, well, you haven't got a degree in journalism, you didn't go to Griffith College or whatever, or you don't work for us. The only requirement of a journalist is to tell the truth. And when they said about Philip that they want to stop citizen journalists spreading what they said was misinformation, Philip is live streaming here. He can't edit it. It's what you see is what you get. I have to wrap it up now because the weather is out.